the provisions of NRS 354.624. That's on page 67. There's just some limited procedures there, and we found no instances of non-compliance. So we take fraud procedures very serious. We usually, we analyze risk of fraud in the city. We ask fraud questions. So we take that very seriously as part of our work with this. And the city has good financial policies. They haven't changed. The financial statements disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. And we didn't encounter any difficulties in the audit. Jeanette and her staff and Jennifer, they're all ready to work with. We like company. We didn't have any uncorrected misstatements. Are there any questions before we look at the single audit?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So then on page 71, so we had the city had to do a single audit this year upon receiving the CARES and the CDBG funds. So our report on compliance, according to the uniform guidance, the federal requirements, and then internal control over compliance is listed there. So again, with the internal control, we're not expressing an opinion on its effectiveness. We're just trying to get an understanding of how it's functioning, that it is functioning. And we didn't know any non-compliance with with the federal programs that we tested. So that pretty much concludes what we have. Are there any questions that anyone has for me?
This is Councilman Spear. I only have one. I just got the testimony, so I haven't been able to go through all of it. I'm wondering if it'd be possible where this is required to be ended on November 30th of the year that's being audited. Is there any chance that we can get this just a little bit earlier than a couple days before this meeting?
You mean in terms of issuing the opinion? Yeah, and yes, we can get it issued sooner than, so close to the deadline.
Well, I appreciate that. Send bound copy 10 or 12 on whatever you need to do, but send them early enough to where you have there's a lot of stuff goes on here, and it's a very good audit, but it still looks like I would like to have more time to look at it because I do go through the numbers and pretty close attention to everything.
Point of clarification, Councilman Spear. I picked up mine Monday.
I wasn't here. I told them
I know, but because you're not here, we don't set the world around Ed Spear's time clock. All right. It was here Monday. That's the best we could do at that time. He said he will improve it.
This thing is closed out on November 30th. I expect to have it ahead of that no longer.
Okay, that's a good point there. Okay,
That's all I want.
okay. When you said you only got it 2 days ahead of time,
That was when I got home.
when you're traveling. I'd now like to make some comments on this audit. The numbers is my type of thing, and I like this audit. I like the way it was done, but I think it's real important that our council members take a look at page 7 and 9. A lot of you understand the numbers, but in the middle of about the third line, fourth paragraph down, the fund balance of the general fund increased by $254,000 during the year. That's unbelievable. That's very, very good. Another major thing we need to look at is the fifth line on the general fund expenditures. Our biggest expense is public safety, fire and police protection. 57% of our budget goes for that. So that's very important, to try to realize how much money we're spending for public safety. It's a lot coming out of our budget. And you jump over to page 9, 46% of our general fund revenue comes from CTX distributions, from sales tax, and so forth. That's a huge amount of money. And during the negotiations, we increased that through the county and the hospital board, $200,000, which was a big thing. That was really good. But very important, I've said this from the time I ran for this office, we're only going to be as good as the people that work for us. The employees of this city, if they don't want to play right with us, we're going to fail. So if you read, the general fund of the city has held its financial condition as a result of strict budgeting practices along with the efforts of city personnel to work smart with conscientious spending. Although the city is expecting fluctuations in tax revenues, the continued practice of holding or reducing expenditures is needed. These fluctuations are not expected to have a significant impact. We need to keep it the way we're going. Budgeting is so important, and I think our staff has educated the employees not to waste nothing, work smart. So I think this is a good audit. It improved a long ways in the last 2 years, from barely over $100,000 to $746,000 in our general fund. Your enterprise funds, they're a business, and we run them like a business, and that's the way it has to do. And there's good comments on those also. So kudos to the staff and the employees for making this audit successful as it is. It's a good thing to see in here.
Please.
I would like to agree with that. As the school district, we just had our auditor on last night, and we went through the exact same thing. And it feels really good to have limited issues in your audit, and to know that if there are issues, staff can handle that or learn what they need to do. So the audit is really, really important, and it is important for the public to look at this audit or ask questions if need be. So I guess I would also say thank you to the staff for such a good audit.
And just to note tangentially that these single audits that they have here will be doing more of those with this ARPA funding. And gosh, there are a lot of requirements on that CARES Act and all that other stuff. And I'm glad to see that those audits have been going as well as they have been. I know staff spends a lot of sleepless nights worrying about making sure we comply with that. Are there any other questions or anything that Kennington would like to add?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. That being the case, I will entertain a motion for acceptance of the audit.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion from Councilman Allworth. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Spear. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried so ordered. We'll back up to item 8, the consent agenda.
I do have one other statement to make. On the October 28th, 21, minutes, we were talking about the reports. Maybe it wasn't that. I got to find my highlights. Sorry. And it's actually just a misstatement that I made, for the record, I want to at least clarify that. During the service, remember which page that was, Patty? Oh, never mind, I found it. Page 10 of the October 28th minutes, I incorrectly stated that Nye County got $15.1 million for their hospital. We were talking about it. After I thought about that and went home and then I read these minutes again, the $15.1 million went to the Opportunity Village in Las Vegas from the Horsford office, and the hospital in Nye County got almost $4 million, a little over 3.7 if I remember right. I couldn't find the numbers to correct it, but that says that I did state that the biggest payout was Nye County and the biggest payout was to the Opportunity Village in Las Vegas. I just to clarify what I actually said.
So just to be clear, you're offering a correction to your statement.
Right.
But you did make that statement.
I did make the statement. It's correct in the
Okay. That being the case, if there's nothing else.
I'd like to make a disclosure. As a past member of the Ely Volunteer Fire Department, on those 1027, 1028 bills, they did send volunteers to the EMS conference. I believe I'll vote in favor of that because it's good for the community. But I am a past member of the Ely Fire Department, 36 years.
So noted. I will entertain a motion to approve both the minutes and the bills.
So moved.
Motion from Councilman Spear. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilman Allworth. Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Thank you for correcting those. We'll move back down to new business. Item 2, Mayor Robertson, discussion for possible action, reappointment of tree board